All right, guys. Boom. There we are again. And we are already at day 7 of the 30 days life challenge. All right. So in these 30 days, I'm showing people all of the lessons that I've wished that I've learned during school that school itself didn't teach me. All right. For me, one of the most important things at the end of the day is giving people the right education. I'm not here to entertain you. So if you are here to getting entertained or anything else like I'm some streamer from another platform, don't think like that. All right, I'm here to educate, not to entertain. Yeah. So what I want you to do is I want you to grab a pen and a paper. Yeah, because we are going to write things down today. Yeah, because in this stream I'm going to cover one of my favorite things. What is one of my favorite things? For everyone who knows, I always refer to something in every podcast. And that, of course, is books. Yeah. When you're watching my stories, I'm always talking about books. When you're watching my live streams, I'm always talking about books. And especially when you're talking to me in real life, I will always talk about books. All right. So this is what we are going to talk about. And we are going to make sure that for you, a lot of people have a lot of books like this in their house. Yeah, a lot of them. And the problem is, they don't read it. So they buy a lot of books. Yeah. And please type in the chat, relatable, if this is you. All right. For a lot of people, they buy a lot of books. They go to the bookstore or some friend refers a book to them and they will buy it. And then at the end of the day, they never read it. All right. And now you have a very big pile of books somewhere inside of your house that you didn't read. And at the end of the day, books are quite expensive. If you're looking at most books, they are around 15 euros, 25 euros. If you have a full pile of them, of course, it's going to stack up. So we need to make sure that that stack of books, that they are actually going to be read at all. Yeah. So that is what we are going to focus on today. I'm going to show you all of the books that are my favorites, yeah, and I've read quite some, as you guys can see, 189 books, yeah. I'm going to show you my favorites, and at the end of the stream, I'm also going to give 4 bonus books, that helped me crazy in the thing that I do, all right? And that, of course, is inside of the finance space. Yeah, I see for a lot of guys it's relatable as well. So we are going to solve this problem, all right? So first of all, we need to understand why do we have a very big pile of books inside of our house? When we are looking at life, all right, we face a lot of different roadblocks through our months, through our years, all right? And every single roadblock itself is in some kind of niche. So sometimes, for example, we struggle with mental health, yeah? And that is most of the time when we are looking at mindset books or at time management books, for example, right? So when we are struggling with this, we find a book and we buy it. The problem is, for our mental health nowadays, we rather take this thing that gives us instant dopamine instead of a book like this, yeah? Because this thing is hard to do, while this thing is pretty easy to do. So we are buying something and we know that it will fix us. The only problem is we don't use it. The reason for this is because it's too much of a step, I would say, yeah? So reading a book itself, for a lot of people, they link it to a lot of time and boring stuff. One of the reasons why we link books to boring stuff, and write this down, for most people, we link books to boring stuff because we needed to read at school about topics we didn't like. All right? So write down, most probably, I don't like books because of school. If you were shown very boring movies every single time in school, and you didn't know that there were nice movies as well, you would never ever watch a movie in your entire life. Why? Because you linked that thing to something very boring. All right? Most books that you have read inside of your life were very boring. Because in school, you weren't allowed to read business books or anything else. It always needed to be some boring book. Now you need to understand, the books that you most probably bought are books that you are really interested in itself. But because your brain has the link to a very boring thing, you won't read it, all right? Please, guys, I see that we have some watchers in here. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and put the notification bell on, all right? So every time when I'm doing a live stream or when I'm doing something else, you will see that I'm going live. And why did I say something else? I have an announcement to make, all right? And this is something so many people ask me about. Camille, when are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? And I always said, yeah, maybe one day. And of course, as everyone knows, I have one favorite quote, yeah? I have a favorite quote. And the quote goes, slow motion is better than no motion, all right? And sometimes it is hard for myself to stick to my own quotes as well. I'm not perfect, all right? So today I was eating with a friend of mine, and he was like, you always talk about the slow motion is better than no motion, but why didn't you start vlogging? And then I was like, there you have me, all right? So what did I do? After the dinner, I went to the store, I bought this thing, and for now it is time to make sure that I give you guys some more content, all right? And that is what I'm going to focus on as well for the upcoming month. So you don't just have this live streams itself. Again, it won't be the focused on the entertaining stuff, yeah? Because at the end of the day, I'm not here to entertain you guys. You have a lot of other guys who are here to entertain you. I'm not that guy, all right? I want to educate you, and that is what the vlogs are going to be about as well. Because if I look at my life itself, my life is just a lot of work, yeah? And after the work, I do stuff with my beloved ones, all right? And I'm going to show you guys how I structure it and what the lessons that I have throughout the day are, yeah? So that is what I'm going to start this week. Please type in the chat yes if you are happy that I'm going to start vlogging, all right? Okay, guys, so we need to understand, why do we not read and how can we fix this problem? Again, when we're looking at reading, well, one of the problems that we face is that, first of all, we don't make time for it, all right? So what we are going to do is we are going to take reading as serious as our job itself, all right? So what do I mean with this? You need to understand, reading itself, you are never going to finish this book by reading 10 pages a day like all of the motivational pages tell you to do, all right? They will tell you, wake up then, read 10 pages, meditate, put your balls in the sun, do whatever you want, yeah? That's what they say. I'm not a big fan of this. Why? Because at the end of the day, the average book is around 300 pages. What will happen is you will, a lot of people like the vlogging, so I'm happy. Guys, so the problem is, the average book is around 300 pages. If you're going to read around 10 pages a day, it takes you an entire month to finish one book. I can tell you one thing. At the end of the month, you don't know anymore what the first few pages of the book were about, the first 10 or the first 20. Why? Because you used 30 days to understand the story. Doesn't make sense. Because at the end of the day, after 10 pages, you're just getting started, all right? That's when you don't hear all of the noise anymore. So what we are going to do is we are going to do it a bit structured, all right? So we are going to make sure, let me grab my whiteboard again. Guys, thanks again for not the sponsor, but they just tend to make very good whiteboard cleaners. So what are we going to do? We are going to understand that if we want to read something, we actually need to work for it, all right? So instead of just buying the book and hoping that we can have the knowledge directly, I'm sorry, that is not the case, all right? Same goes for courses, same goes for everything else. The problems with books, of course, the titles are so good that you just want to buy them. So if I'm looking at some books that I'm going to mention today, because the titles are so good, that is why a lot of people buy them, yeah? So you always have the basic Instagram models and the nerds with subtle art of not giving a fuck. It's like the most standard book. We are not going to talk about that one, by the way, yeah? So, where's a pen? Here, okay. So, we need to understand one thing. Our mechanism for reading books is going to be a bit differently. you had the time management stream, all right? So we know everything about time management. If you didn't watch the time management stream, you need to watch it, all right? It's a very important one. What we are going to do is we are going to make sure that we have one block throughout the day. Yeah, so 1 hour block, so 60 minutes book, where we are just going to read, all right? And we're literally going to treat this as work, and we are going to treat this as priority, all right? So you won't go to sleep until this is finished. I don't care how hard your day was. I don't care what happens inside of your day. I don't care what happened with your family and anything else. When there's a P in front of it, you need to do it, all right? Non-negotiable. You need to pick one block throughout the day that you are going to read 60 minutes, all right? So why 60 minutes? Listen up. The average book is around 300 pages. What we are going to do is, instead of just reading the book, so getting the book and reading it, we are going to read and we are going to listen at the same time, all right? So we are going to read and listen the book at the same time. So this means that we have an audiobook, and a paperback book, all right? So we need to have the audiobook and the paperback book. Where can we find audiobooks? We can find audiobooks on apps like Audible, for example. Yeah, that's the one from Amazon. And we have, for example, Storytel. All right, Storytel. On these places we can find audiobooks. You can find a lot on YouTube as well, on Spotify. There are many places to find audiobooks. But we always want to make sure that when we are buying a book, that we have the audiobook as well. All right? So this is the combination. So from the pile of books that you have, the homework is going to be get the audiobooks from those books. All right? Because this is going to be the way how we are going to read it. So now that we have both, so the audiobook and the paperback, now we move on to the next step. What is the next step? Where is that thing? I don't see it. Okay, doesn't matter. So what is the next step, guys? We have the audiobook, we have the paperback. Next step is going to be, we want to make sure that we are going to read, yeah? So we take the book and we are going to read and listen at the same time, all right? Read and listen at the same time. Because the average book is around 300 pages, we know that the average audiobook is around 8 hours, yeah? 8 hours. If we use these 8 hours and we put it on 2x speed, we make it 4 hours. Yeah? This means that if we have the priority list for 60 minutes in a week, we can finish a book in, for the geniuses, yeah? When can we finish the book? 4 days. Yeah? How many days do we have in a week? 7. Yeah? So what do we know? Of course, we need to read a bit more throughout the week, but we can easily finish 2 books a week. All right? With this framework. And that is what we are going to aim for. Again, you probably have around 10 books inside of your house. We are going to make sure that in the first month or in the first 2 months, we liquidated the pile of books. And we have time now to read new books, all right? Because we need to have a framework to actually read them. Again, if you have a goal without a plan, it's just a dream. Yeah? So write down, if you have a goal without a plan, it's just a dream. If it is your goal to read this book, but you are not going to make a plan to actually read it, it is just a dream and it will just catch dust inside of your house. So we need to make sure that we are going to do this. How are we going to do this? By making this priority. So we want to make sure that every single day that goes by, we at least had 1 hour of reading. How can we achieve this? If we are looking at our phone usage each day, the average is around 4 hours. All right? So 4 hours on scrolling on socials and all of this stuff. So what do we need to do is I'm just going to ask you to skip 1 hour of looking at big booty girls, yeah? Skip 1 hour of that and put it into the books, okay? Just 1 hour, that's it. Only thing I'm asking, all right? You can use 3 hours to do your things, watch whatever you want, yeah? Do your thing. 1 hour is what I'm asking for you to do this, all right? So we need to get rid of that. So you can do 3 hours of scrolling, whatever you want to do. One of those, we are going to put it into something smart to actually make something from your life. If you do this, you will easily see, whoa, that weird wizard, he was right. Reading books indeed has a great ROI. Yeah? ROI, return on investment. Investing your time into something, yeah, can still bring you a very good reward itself, right? And that is what we want to focus on. So for this, yeah, again, we need to make sure that the right system is in place. And now you have the right system, yeah? So again, guys, just for yourself, get your notebook out, yeah? Notebook. Where's my pen? Guys, I don't know, but I lost everything today. Where is all of the stuff? Doesn't matter. Guys, my Rolex whiteboard cleaner is gone. So Rolex, please send me no, Rolex, I know you're not going to send me a new one. So I need to do it unsponsored. Thank you. I have it again. Okay, guys. So write it down, yeah? And, okay, brother, what about remembering what you have read? Very good one. Very good one. Okay. How do you actually remember it? What you are going to do, if you're looking at my books, everything that I'm marking down, yeah? So let's say, for example, I'm reading something interesting in this book. Guys, where is my pen? I bought I'm a fan of Montblanc pens. The only problem is I lose them every single month. So that's like a 450 euro subscription every month if I keep on losing them. So where is this thing? I don't want to read with brokey pens. No. Okay. We need to grab another pen. Let me grab this one. Okay. What you are going to do. This is your book. Let's say you are... Behind you left? No, you're lying. Listen up. What you're going to do, if you read something interesting, yeah, so, very, very interesting, oh, nice. You're going to mark it down like this, yeah? And you're going to write somewhere throughout the page, yeah? Why this one thing that you think that is interesting, how you are going to apply it to your life, all right? And why it is interesting to you. Because just marking it down like this isn't going to do anything. Then you can better watch Dora Explorer or do something else. We need to make sure that we are going to read to implement. All right? Read to implement. So what is the main goal? When you are reading... No. So when you are reading, we want to make sure that we are reading with a goal. So for example... If you have problem with things in your mindset, read about that. If you are into the trading space and you have problems understanding Fibonacci's, for example, read books about Fibonacci's. If you have problems, you own a company and you have problems with scaling the company, read books about scaling a company, all right? You always need to make sure that when you read a book, that you can actually implement it inside of your life, all right? So a lot of people, they will just take book recommendations from a friend like it's some kind of candy. You need to understand every book that you are going to read, you need to be able to implement it throughout your life. So when you're reading something, mark shit down and then write down why you marked it down. At what thing inside of your life is it interesting? Is it interesting for health? Is it interesting for wealth? Or is it interesting for relationships? Well, one of the three most of the time. Now ask yourself, how are you going to implement this in this thing? All right? That's key. So what we are going to do now is I'm going to walk you guys through the top 9 books that I have about certain things. Yeah. And the first one is laying the foundation. All right. So we need to understand when we are starting with reading, we need some motivation. When you're starting with a business, you need some motivation. And we need to make sure that everything right here is clean, all right? And is in the most optimal way for us to learn, yeah? Because you can start reading a very boring book now about marketing or anything else, but if you don't have the right mindset, you're just going to throw away the book. So we need to make sure that the book itself is going to be an eye-opener, all right? How are we going to do this? I have a few books that for myself are a very good foundation for my mindset, all right? And if I'm looking at some things that I always refer to in normal life, most of the time it comes from one of these books, all right? So what is the first one? Let me start off with one of my favorite ones, all right? And one of the reasons why I always recommend this one is because it's such an easy book. Oh wait, people are going to make screenshots. Nice. Good book, yeah? Guys, by the way, if you are reposting me on Instagram, please make sure that it is a picture like this. Yeah, for example. Not somewhere where I'm looking like an idiot, all right? Please. Just for myself, my ego, yeah? Something like this. Just a nice picture, okay? By the way, guys, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Okay, so what we want to do is this book is the foundation for almost every entrepreneur in the beginning. And this book is interesting for literally almost everyone. I would say it is interesting for employees, but I would say it's interesting for traders and for entrepreneurs as well. Because the story that it tells you, it is very broad. So it is about a boy, yeah, and the boy itself goes on a trip. And this is a pretty spiritual book, I would say, so you need to go into it open-minded. So it's not a very practical book that is going to give you direct steps to improve your life, all right? But it's more for you to fill in for yourself how you're going to read it. This is a book that in every single stage inside of your life, you can read it again and you can see it from a total different perspective. So someone who made their first 10K, it is a very good book for them. But the guy, after his 10K, when he made 100K, he can read it again and it will be an entirely different book. When he became a millionaire, boom, entirely different book again. When he made his first 10 million, boom, entire different book again. 100 million I cannot talk about because I didn't reach that yet, all right? So we need to understand for you that if you're going to take a look at this one, you start from here and the little boy takes you towards a journey, yeah, to the end goal. And in everything in the journey, you can find yourself. And now it is on you to see where you are inside of the journey itself, all right? And you will always see that somewhere inside of the journey, it feels relatable. You have a lot of different versions of this book. Just buy a nice one. And like I said, if you are going to write a lot of stuff down inside of the book itself, that's when it becomes a good one for your book class. At the end of the day, I think every man, every gentleman should have a very big library inside of his house, all right? So it's better for you to stack it up, and books look way nicer if you actually use them, all right? So that is number 1, The Alchemist. Write down. I know. Boom, there we go. That's number 1. Now we move on to this one. Nice. The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. All right. Very good book, and especially for laying the foundation for yourself. All right. It gives you a lot of practical steps as well. And if I'm looking at my business partner, for him, this was one of the most important books that he read inside of his entire life. All right. My business partner started with my coaching when he literally had nothing. So he lost his grandma, he lost his house, and he lost his job. Yeah, he wanted to apply for a study, and I said, no, you're going to start with me, and I gave him this book. This book literally changed his entire life, and now he's traveling around the world with me, and he's, I would say, very, very highly profitable in trading, all right? Because of this book, his entire mindset changed, and he had the perfect foundation to start, yeah? So read this one, and again, this one has a lot of practical tips as well inside of the book, yeah? Very, very, very good book. The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. Nice. Now we move on to this one. And again, guys, I'm just starting with the mindset books, all right? Because I think, again, that laying the foundation is very important. And all of the books that I'm going to show you are, so in the beginning, are books that you need to be a bit open about. So if we're looking at this one, yeah, The Richest Man of Babylon, one of my favorite books. But it's written in a very old style, so very old words and all of the things. And it has some very practical things for your daily life inside of the books as well. Yeah, so it has very practical things, but it was practical already 300 years ago. And now you need to view for yourself, how are you going to translate those lessons into our daily lives right now? So it's going to talk about, for example, saving up 10% every single paycheck, yeah? So when you get a paycheck every single month, for example, getting 10% from that, putting it aside, and that's whenever you can fill in what you're going to do with it. This one will give you some very practical steps. And again, this one was practical 300 years ago. You can make it practical now as well, if you are going to be open about the idea, yeah? And if you are going to ask yourself, how can I use this information for my daily life now, all right? Very, very, very good book. Easy to read as well. This one has 200 pages, yeah? Again, you can read this one easily in 1 or 2 days. Easy, yeah? If you put in some time with the audiobook and this one. Everything that you underline, so if we have something and we underline it, ask yourself, why did I just underline this and how am I going to implement it, all right? So how are you going to implement these things? Very, very, very important. So, good book. Now we will move on to 2 books that changed a lot for me, all right? One book is this one. Yeah, love this one. Especially because this one is literally my entire life. If I'm looking at my life, yeah, I would say I wake up with the idea of this book. Everything that I'm doing, I'm waking up with this book. If I'm looking at people who are inside of the same game as I am, I always think, okay, I need to do it 10 times harder than them, work 10 times harder than them, and at the end of the day, I will get paid 10 times more than them, all right? With everything that I do, if I'm focusing on something, I want to make sure that I'm working 10 times harder than everyone. When you think, okay, I'm going to do this, yeah, that's your initial thought. Now you need to think, how am I going to make that 10 times bigger? So that thought that I just had, how am I going to do this 10 times bigger? Yeah. So when you're thinking of your business, okay, I'm going to focus on scaling my business to 10K a month. Yeah. Instead of thinking the 10K, most of the time our initial thoughts, first thoughts are comfortable. Yeah. So now we need to ask ourselves, okay, how are we going to make 100K instead of that 10? All right. That is what this entire book is all about. One of the reasons, again, when you're going to look at most things, the business model itself is going to be completely different when you're looking at this one than this one. So why not start immediately with this one. At the end of the day, more people are aiming for this than for this. So when you're looking at the line for this goal, yeah, so a sandwich shop, this line has 9,000 people in front of them. Well, this one just has a few hundred in front of them, all right? So when you're looking at this, it's most of the time easier as well. And that is the funny part. People think, oh no, he's just talking bullshit. Because you don't do it, yeah? You cannot talk with me on this. Because you are constantly making excuses why it won't be real. Yeah, no, but if it was that easy, everyone would do it. If it is that easy, try it. Yeah? Because you can say as a skeptical guy, yeah, no, but if it's that easy, everyone would do it. Why are you not at least trying it then? If it's that easy. Yeah? Try it, figure it out for yourself, and then put your excuses somewhere where the sun doesn't shine. Yeah? Okay. And by the way, guys, when you're looking at the time, yeah, so I read it on 2x speed, sometimes 3, yeah? Because my brain can easily handle all of that information very fast. If this is too fast for you, I'm not the police, okay? I won't knock on your window, why are you not reading on 2? You can read it on 1.5 as well, and then just see, okay, you are finishing the book 2 or 3 days later. All fine, yeah? I'm not going to hurt you, that's your own problem, all right? So for yourself, whenever you think, okay, this is nice, read it on that speed. For me, it is around 2 or around 3, yeah? So it really depends on the book as well, and who reads the book, yeah? So sometimes it's the author itself that is really relaxed. It really depends. Okay. So we have 10X, yeah, from Grant Cardone. Great book in many aspects of life. Now we're moving on to this one. Yeah. Outwitting the Devil. Very, very, very good book. Everyone right here has a devil inside of them. Everyone. Yeah. And this book talks about who the devil is, what he's doing, and how he is trying to convince you to do certain stuff. This will be the most relatable book out there. A lot of people, always when I recommend this book, they say that this was one of the most relatable books they've ever read. Yeah? Because this one tells you everything about the little voice inside of your head, how it works, how it operates. Again, if you want to get rid of some negative thing inside of your life, you need to understand why it's operating and where it's coming from, all right? So you need to read this book. Very, very, very good book. Yeah? Outwitting the Devil. Oh. Is it sharp? Yeah. Very good book. Yeah? Good shit. Okay. Now we're looking at one of the recent books that I've read. And I would say The Alchemist was one of my favorite books for 2 to 3 years. When I started reading this one, I think that this one won. And that this one is now on number 1. Oh. The 4 Agreements, all right? This may be one of the best books that I've ever read, all right? It is about your entire belief system. So when you're looking at your life, that since the start of your life, you are not believing what you want to believe. But you believe the things your parents taught you, your school taught you, and the people around you taught you. Because you didn't know what reality was. So it was very easy for them to mold your brain into their beliefs. You need to understand that every person itself can create its own beliefs as well. So you need to wake up with the idea, why do you believe certain stuff? Maybe some people told you when you were younger that you were bad at certain things, and you started believing this for real. Yeah. So now when you start writing, for example, and because your parents told you that you were bad at writing, you will think this immediately, and this is what your reality is. Well, you maybe really like it, and if you just put more hours in it, you will become the best writer in the world. But you don't do this. Why? Because you really believe that is the reality itself. So you need to understand that this book is one of the foundations of I would say creating a very good life. Because at the end of the day, your entire day is created by what your beliefs are. Yeah. So I would say this is one of the best books about that. So when you're looking at the very basic books like Think and Grow Rich and Rich Dad Poor Dad and all of the things, very good books, but you need to understand that is just the building blocks, all right? So Rich Dad Poor Dad is just the ABC book of entrepreneurship. But if you really want to learn about entrepreneurship itself, go a bit deeper. Same goes for Think and Grow Rich. Instead of reading that one, start reading Outwitting the Devil, for example, or books like this. Way more practical, all right? So that's a very good book, and it gives you some practical steps as well. And again, if I'm looking at why I love certain books, it's because I love to make it practical. Making books practical is one of the most important things. So now we are going to take a look at 3 books that I mentioned yesterday, but I think that are key books, yeah? So again, first we are focusing on how we can implement certain things, yeah? So how we can implement the foundation itself, how we can learn about mindset itself, have the right mindset to actually start reading books. And now we move on to reading to get knowledge, all right? So in the beginning, we read to get motivation. Now we read to extract knowledge from books. Because at the end of the day, you need to understand one thing. You are reading books not because you want to kill some time or do other stuff. You need to understand as well, we are never killing time, but time is killing us. Write that down. You never kill time, time kills you. All right, so when you're looking at, I'm just going to kill some time on the couch scrolling, no. Time is killing you, and you just wasted it by sitting on the couch. You need to you need to switch up the perspective itself. Yeah, so you don't kill time, time kills you. All right? So when we're looking at reading books, we are literally getting the craziest guys out there giving their information for free. All right? So when you're looking at guys like Elon Musk, when you're looking at guys like Bezos, yeah? When you're looking at guys, so you have the other guy, just almost every big entrepreneur itself, or for example, if we're looking at Ray Dalio, one of the biggest investors in the world, all of these crazy guys have books, yeah? Craziest guys in the world, they have books. And you literally need to see this as a USB stick with their knowledge that you can implement inside of your brain, yeah? So you can insert this USB stick inside of your brain with knowledge that you can buy for 20 euros. You can literally buy a course from a billionaire for 20 euros. But you are too ignorant because you think reading books is cliche, yeah? While you are scrolling all day. Doesn't make any sense, right? You need to understand that most books that you are going to read are there to help you understand certain stuff. You can learn everything about the journey of guys who are billionaire status in less than 4 hours. Yeah. So, for example, the book from Elon Musk, very crazy books. The books from Bezos, crazy books. The books from Ray Dalio, I would say, are the best books for the beginning stages of your financial journey. So you have, I would say his best book, but it's one of the most boring ones as well, is The Big Debt Crisis. I would say if you're into finance, that is one non-negotiable that you should read, The Big Debt Crisis. He has things like Changing the World Order as well. Very good book as well. And he has the book Principles, where he shows you all of the principles that he lives by. Again, the principles of a billionaire. So you can be an ignorant guy who lives somewhere in a small village, yeah, living a shitty, miserable life, and he says, no, but I'm not going to read books because it's cliche. What are you doing? What are you talking about? You're living a miserable life while this guy out here lives a crazy life and he shows you actually how he's doing it. Yeah? Maybe listen to him. Same goes for, you are literally, there's a book about a guy who is changing the entire world. Yeah? Who's maybe making sure that human species are going to move to a different planet. Yeah? And in 4 hours, you can learn about his vision. The guy who made e-commerce from just a small e-commerce store to one of the biggest billionaires in the world, controlling the entire e-commerce game, has a book, yeah, and he has multiple books. And in 4 hours, you can learn everything about this. And you rather sit on your ass the entire day watching girls? Does it make sense? Nah, does it? Yeah. So maybe you need to change a bit, guys. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Good things. All right. So big debt crisis, changing the world order. Changing the world order and principles. Very good books. All right. For Bezos, you have, for example, Working Backwards, the Everything Store. There are many of Bezos as well. For Elon Musk, you have a lot like, I think it's Elon Musk itself, just the name. And you have one that's called Musk, all right? So when we're talking about podcasts, for example, there will be an entire stream dedicated about podcasts as well and how to extract the most out of podcasts as well. That's where we are going to talk a lot about what we've just talked about, all right? I think that's one of the most important things out there. Okay, so now let's jump back to the books. Again, we go from reading to have motivation to reading to extract knowledge. The books that I've mentioned yesterday are non-negotiables and I would say a must-read for you. First one, The Art of Learning. Yeah, I know. Very good book. Very good book. Everything about self-learning. Because at the end of the day, reading books, you are teaching yourself certain stuff. When we're looking at school, and yesterday we unfolded everything about this topic, you are stopping with 3 things. School gives you an environment, it gives you resources, so books, and it gives you a network. When you are the cool entrepreneurial guy who wants to stop all of these things because you want to go on your entrepreneurial journey, you need to understand that you are the owner of your knowledge. And you need to have the best resources as well. This one will help you with this as well. Ultra Learning. Very good book, all right? Everything about learning yourself, different things. Must read. Deep work is how to actually read books, all right? How to actually read books, yeah? Very good book, very good book. Boom. Now we move on for the business owners, all right? So the people who want to start a business, yeah? We have this one. And especially for smaller businesses, and why they don't work. Why is this one so important? All right. When we're looking at this, and by the way, guys, I see a question about the followers and how many people are watching this. You need to understand. One of the reasons why not a lot of people, so when I'm looking at my story views, all right, I get around 8K, so 8,000 people watching my stories. When we're looking at these live streams, we have around 70 people watching at the same time and around 1K views on the video. This shows you that free information doesn't work, all right? Those who pay attention. If I made these streams 50 euros, 10 times more people would watch this. Why? Because they made an investment in themselves, all right? Those who pay attention. When things are free, people don't watch it. You guys are just the 1% who's actually doing it, all right? Most people won't do this. Well, one of the reasons why I'm doing these streams is because I will make clips from these streams, yeah? And these clips, I'm going to distribute it on the internet. So people get the lessons when they are scrolling. That's what I want. Again, I want to educate, not entertain. And I want to be the guy why they are putting their phone away and why they start reading, all right? So that is my goal with this stream. I don't care that there are 70 people watching. I will do this when there are 7 people watching as well, all right? So when we are looking at this, the E-Myth Revisited. I would say this is one of the best books because this explains every stage a business goes through. So the beginning stages, yeah, the absolute beginning of a business, and the end stages, and where most businesses fail. So where most people stop. That is one of the most important things, all right? So where people stop. If we know this and if we spot this, we can easily understand, okay, at this point, I need to go 10x, yeah? So on this point, when my business is approaching that point, I need to go 10 times harder than I was going before to make sure I'm not one of the guys who fails at that point, all right? That's a very important one. This book is key for traders, for everyone, all right? So very good one. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to give you guys some trading books, all right? At the end of the day, I'm a day trader, and we have all of the mindset and the general books now, all right? Now we need to learn about finance. So I'm going to give you all of the trading books that helped me through my journey, all right? First one, I would say, well, one of the most important ones is this one. What are we actually chasing? And the entire first live stream of the 30 days challenge was about this book, all right? So what are we actually chasing? Well, what is money and how is it created? One of the most important ones, especially for trading. Why? Because most of the time we are chasing the US dollar. So we need to see, okay, how was this created and how does it work? What is the mechanism behind it and what maybe is the next mechanism, all right? If you want more about this, read the first, listen to the first stream, all right? So the creature of Jekyll Island, yeah, write it down. Now we will move on to trading. When we're so I'm going to give you 3 books, yeah? This book is kind of the same like The Alchemist. You can read it in many different stages, all right? So you can read it as a beginning trader, but you can read it as an expert trader as well. When you make a very big loss, this is one where you can pick it up as well. I would recommend every trader to have this book, yeah? And this is an expensive one. This one was like 75 euros, all right? When you have this one, read it and pick it up whenever you are struggling in trading, because this one shows you every in and out of trading in a very easy way. It's a very easy book, easy read, all right? But a very nice one, and it will show you all of the mistakes that a lot of people make in trading. Key, all right? Key book for traders. So all of the books that I'm going to give for trading, you need to read them. Very good book. Now we will move on to a book that I would say is just about trading in general, yeah? So just the life of a trader, I would say, and the mentality of a trader that you need to have. This one. Very good book about trading, and this gives you a very realistic view about trading. Realistic view. Something almost no one has anymore because of social media, yeah? By the way, guys, if you want to learn more about trading, there is a link below where you can apply for my one-on-one mentorship. Don't apply if you don't like hard work, all right? Don't apply if you're a sissy boy. Understand that you need to, when you apply to this, my one-on-one is really one-on-one, where we are going to be in contact every single day. I don't want to work with nerds, so my selection program is pretty hard. So when you're applying, make sure that you let me know why you are the right fit for the program, all right? Very, very, very good book, yeah? Now we will move on to the last one. And the last one is one that helped me a lot, especially when I had big losses, all right? So as a trader, life isn't all rainbows and sunshines, and you will make losses as well. This book, yeah, the little book of the Market Wizards, and you have the normal one, Market Wizards as well, and you have the new Market Wizards as well. All 3 very good books. This book is key, all right, because it gives you different perspectives from big traders. So it's a book where they interview all of the big traders inside of the game, and they will give interviews how they started and how they went to a very big level. You will always see, so what was a very relieving moment for me was that almost every big trader, almost every trading billionaire lost their entire net worth more than 10 times, yeah? More than 10 times. You need to understand, I lost my, I would say, the majority of my wealth more than 4 times, yeah? When the 4th time happened, and I picked up that book, I was like, okay, 6 more to go, yeah? At the end of the day, that's the name of the game. And that's something you need to embrace. And you need to understand, guys, that one of the biggest goals that you need to have is that every time when you are making the step down, yeah, so when you are every time when you are losing something, make sure that at least you are one level higher, all right? So every time when I lost something, you will lose around, let's say, for example, 90%, yeah? Or, just not, let's say, not 90%, yeah? So in the beginning, when you have, for example, 100K and you lose 90, okay, now you still have 10 left. Now from this, you work towards a million again, all right? And now you lose 90% again. Boom, at least you have 100, all right? Now you lose the 10, boom, at least you have 1M still left, all right? So this is how it goes every single time. And what you see in the book is you will see the craziest stories. So literally stories where they lent money from, or borrowed money from the boyfriends of their sisters to make it happen, to make it work. And they borrowed 10K US dollars, and the next day they've lost it again. It's a very humbling experience, all right? And I knew for myself, okay, I wasn't down bad like that, so I'm doing pretty well. And at the end of the day, even though they had all of those losses, they still went through and they still made it happen, all right? And that for me was one of the big eye-openers that I was like, okay, at the end of the day, this is going to be my life work, yeah? And I'm still 22, and for myself, so I lost multiple millions when I was 19. I can cry about that and say, oh, life is always against me and all of the things. Guys, a multi-millionaire at 19, yeah? Really? Like, could I complain? No, at the end of the day, my college, yeah, because every lesson that you make and every failure that you have, what you lose there is just your college fee, yeah? I went to a college at 19 years old that cost me a few million. I'm blessed. That's how I view it, all right? And that's the way how to view it. And especially that book learned me everything about it, all right? Guys, what I want you to do is I want you to view for yourself which books you are going to read in the upcoming month, all right? Again, you can easily read 2 books a week, but let's begin with 1, all right? So I want you to make a list of 4 books that you are going to start reading in this month and niche it down. So you are going to read about something that you want to learn. Always put one mindset book inside of it. So for example, 10X or one of the other books that I gave you that sounded interesting for you. Pick one of them, yeah, and put that inside of the 4. For the rest, do whatever you want, all right? Guys, this is the stream for today. I want to thank you for being here. Again, if you want to apply for the one-on-one mentorship, do it below and take it serious, all right? If it's very fast answers, I won't get in contact with you. If you cannot even put some time and effort inside of that, I won't put some time and effort in you, all right? Guys, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.